I'd like to call the meeting to order. The Board of Leavenworth County Commissioners. I'd like to invite everyone to stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For the record, all three commissioners are present. I'd like to thank everybody for coming today. We're going to move this agenda around a little bit and hold public comment till we get to where it would be productive on what we're doing today. And I'd like to, has the commissioners had a chance to read the minutes?
I
have. I move approval.
Second.
Voting, aye.
Aye.
Okay, and no OCBs today.
Okay.
We have any administrative business at this time?
I think the only thing that we had to discuss is actually an agenda item on the recycling, so I don't have anything else to add.
Okay, well, we can move that. We got,
Public Works.
yeah, okay, we'll do Public Works.
All right, let's hit, first item that we have for you this morning is approve the awarding of the bid for the water softener at the Justice Center. We received two bids on that item. One was JF Denny, the other one's Backwez Commercial Contracting. Backwez was lower, but they did not meet the bid specs. So we are recommending going with JF Denny for the water softener.
Any questions on that, Commissioner?
I do. Was the difference in the bid considerable then?
It was right around $5,000.
Both bids?
Yeah, the JF Denny was a little over 31,000. Vasquez was a little over 26,000.
But they didn't meet specs, so
Correct, they didn't meet the specs.
I mean, you can be cheaper if you don't meet specs. Motion to approve.
Second.
Voting,
Aye.
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 The other item Public Works has this morning is last Monday the board received an email from a county resident regarding the recycle bins at Tonganoxie. In that email, the resident asked either to add more bins or to remove them completely, basically due to the overwhelming amount of material that are being left there. I gave you all a picture this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we have two bins there. They're being dumped on Mondays and Thursdays. This picture was taken on Friday, so less than a day later, they're already full. I don't think a third bin is going to take care of the issue. I think it's just going to keep growing. Almost weekly, we have trash. The site really looks bad. People are leaving stuff outside the dumpsters. There's stuff in the parking lot. I would ask that the board, instead of adding a third bin, direct Public Works to completely remove the bins that are there right now.
Well, they're being utilized by a lot of residents of the county.
Correct. They aren't being used. But we do offer that service at the transfer station. It's very difficult to get personnel away from the transfer station out here to clean this site up.
Mm-hmm. What about Solid Waste Committee? Have they got any opinion on this?
No, not really. I mean, it was discussed a little bit. It was brought up that the county was doing this at our last quarterly meeting.
No.
One question I'd like to ask, I noticed there's a trash bag in there. Do you notice that, is it being used just for a dumpster?
No, there are a lot of recyclables that when I've stopped by and looked at the site. But yeah, as you can see, people are also putting trash in it.
Yeah.
So that contaminates the whole load.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So I think I would move to just take all the bins away, and then we could take care of it better at the transfer station.
Correct. We already offer recycling at the transfer station. I understand it's a little bit of a drive from Tonganoxie.
Chairman, did this come up because Tongi did not have trash pickup, or they were stopping at her?
Well, there was some bins at a couple locations, I believe the middle school and there at the Triple Creek Realtor.
So Tonganoxie had a couple of sites, and they were having the same issue. The bins were being overfilled, and then people were just setting it out beside the bins. And the properties that they were on were not owned by the city. So the two places that had volunteered to allow them set the sites said, we don't want them anymore. It's too much trash. We're having to clean up. We don't want it. So they moved them actually down to close to Lawrence. It's actually where the bins have been located. Now those bins were only being picked up once a week, and sometimes I understand that they had missed some of those. Tonganoxie does offer recycling at the curb, but it's voluntary, it's not mandatory. And I believe the last time I talked with their city administrator, they had less than 25% participation in that. So, I mean, I can understand why the bins are filling up. It's not just the people who are outside the city that are participating in this that needed an opportunity, but also there are a lot of people in the city that are using it. And I agree, there's use. And there's a lot of use. In fact, we're doing twice a week pickups where they were only doing once a week, and we still can't keep up with it. So I don't know if adding a third bin is going to address that issue. It's like,
Not if it
you know,
fills up one
Mr.
day.
Luchin and I have had that discussion. But the question is whether we want to continue to try to address it, or if we just say it's too much, we can't handle it, we send them to the transfer station.
It is my understanding also that Honey Creek, for county residents, they could go directly to Honey Creek and get a recycle bin. That, I don't know what the cost is for them to do it, but that, I'm told that is an option for county residents in that area.
Okay. But they can't go to Honey Creek on K32 and drop off, is that correct?
I can't tell you yes or no on that. I was told there's a recycling place over nearby the Lawrence Airport, somewhere in that area, that people were using before these came to be.
Well, their business located on K32, 24 there.
Right, so which, the Lawrence Airport?
Yeah.
Somewhere, I was told somewhere down by the Lawrence Airport, there's a place to take recycling.
Well, like I said, it's a service that people are using. There's a need and definitely a want. Because like I said, I was down there Tuesday and they'd have been dumped on Monday and they were already full again.
Right.
So people are using it, and I also seen, this is when we was meeting with the contractors down there, people didn't leave their stuff. They left with it again. That's a couple people did.
Chairman, the only problem I have, we offer a service, we get it established, suddenly we find it's really being used, and then we're going to yank it away?
I'm not in support of that, no sir.
Well, that's what,
I think we knew from the start, when we started this, it was going to be a kind of a trial period to see if it was, that was our concern from the start, was it was going to be abused with people leaving stuff outside the dumpsters. So in our minds, Public Works minds, this was always just a trial to see. I mean, we're up to almost $670 a month, so over $8,000 a year. And that's just for the bins being placed there and dumped. That doesn't include the extra time that we're going to have to go out there and clean up the site when they are abused.
Well, I'd like the Solid Waste Committee to look at this and see if they had any other options before we do anything.
I think last week the board had given direction to add a third bin, and so that's the question we had today. Do you want to go ahead and add the third bin and while we're having the Solid Waste Committee review it, or do you want us to just put that on hold until the Solid Waste Committee has a chance to
do
review?
we have a third bin available, David?
Waste man, we'll have to contact Waste Management to bring it out. But yes, if the board wants a third bin, we'll get a third bin out there.
What would the cost be for the third bin then?
The total cost for all three bins dumped twice a week will be $669.18 per month. And this is not budgeted, and that's
Right.
this is not budgeted in our 2018 budget. If this is the direction we want to go.
Can you make it to the end of the year out of your budget?
Yes, we probably can.
Okay, and that'd give the Solid Waste Committee time to look at this.
But yeah, the contracts, they only do these in year contracts, so if we say add it, we're committing to at least paying them, whether or not they're out there or not.
Okay. Got any thoughts, Commissioner?
I come back to my original thought. We say, we're going to do this. working well, is successful, and then we yank it away.
Well, that's not my motion.
Well, I know, I didn't mind either.
Okay, then
I mean, I don't want, I mean, I never dreamed it would be used to this extent.
Mm-hmm. And I thought the one with the trial was to see if it got used, and it's getting used, so. Yes, sir, former Commissioner Roque.
Dino Roque, 232 Oak Ridge, Lansing. Does the county still assess every property owner in the county a solid waste fee?
I don't believe so.
There used to be a
There
fee
used-
charged. upon
Yeah, it
every
was on your,
resident in
like,
the commercial.
$6 and something.
Yes.
Yeah, you stopped that, didn't we?
Yeah, it had gone up to $15 per resident, and we did take that away and just increased the mill levy to accommodate that fee.
Yes, sir.
Brian Manson, 2317 Willow Point Circle. The bins we used to have in Tongi were much bigger, and they had a top on them, and they had a slot where all you could put in them was cardboard. And it seemed to work great. I never saw a mess over there. I think the problem with these is they're right out in the open where everybody can see them that drives by, and it's a dumpster. And people think that it's a dumpster, you can put anything you want in there. So maybe go to the bigger dumpster with the slot that are intended for recyclables, and then that's all you'll get in there.
Okay,
And you'll have to dump them less often.
okay. Yes, sir, Mr. Suford.
My name is Willie Seward. I live on 182nd Street, 17291. My family uses those dumpsters, have for several years pretty regular.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big things I did wrong recently is they just weren't big enough. You could see that
Okay.
the first day it was put out.
Okay.
Used a lot. I think some education would help. I see people put stuff in there that don't crush the boxes, that don't crush the milk jugs. A lot of that would help things, but they need some sort of education program for them.
And that's where we're at right now, Mr. Suford. We put these in here on a trial basis to see if they were even going to get utilized, and they are being used, so now we're
They was used downtown. There was no reason to think they wouldn't be used
Right.
out there.
okay. All right, I'll take a couple more on this, then we got to move on. Yes, sir.
Glenn Berry, I'm at 34872 North 187th Street. I ain't got a dog in that fight, but I got a recommendation. If they're throwing household garbage in your dumpster, you're not able to recycle nothing that's in there, right?
Right.
So that sounds like a misuse of what you put in place, not a use. Use means it gets intended materials put in it. If you're going to keep them, you got to make it towards being policed by somebody to keep people from putting their household garbage in. Because there are people that don't want to pay for regular household garbage, but they can keep it out in their garage, and once a week or whatever, they'll load it up, haul it over, and throw it in dumpsters for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Jennifer Eddings, 1182 South Raintree Park. I have a suggestion, perhaps change mechanically the dumpsters so that there is, number one, a slot that minimizes the size of the input of the items, and number two, that there's a crushing system that automatically goes down and crushes it like a trash compactor, which would compact it and make it smaller, and then therefore the bin would accommodate more.
Okay, well, that's something Public Works can look into when he talks to Mr. Pruitt. And then we got to move on.
Jared Pruitt, 172 219th Street. I just want to say thank you. We appreciate the support for recycling out there in Tonganoxie. I used to use the bins down in town there. Just to inform everybody, the site out there in North Lawrence that you guys were talking about is at the Waldorf School.
Okay.
And it's a couple pretty small bins, and usually they're pretty full when I go out there. And so any support that you guys want to do, like Commissioner Graber said, the success of this program is showing that we're filling these bins and we're giving people to recycle, and that's great. So I just would love to continue supporting that.
Okay. All right. So you need a motion on adding the third bin?
We've already done
We've already done that, but I mean to have a solid waste committee look at this and see if there's some other routes we could take on.
I think we just
We just do that on a consensus?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so, is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and get the third bin added.
And then that'd give us some time to see where we can take the money for next year to pay for this.
We'll have to have it budgeted.
Yeah. Okay, is that all we need?
Yep.
I guess we'll go back to the admin business. Friday, I attended the Northeast Kansas officials' annual meeting in Johnson County. Surrounding counties were there. They all had concerns from their constituents about Project Sunset. So it's beyond this county right now. By the way, we will be hosting that meeting next year. So that's going to be kind of a hard act to follow, the building we were in, but we'll come up with something. And now, like I said, I want to talk about I guess I need to mention also the Chieftain Park had a very large turnout. The representatives sponsored a meeting down there. 2 senators and 2 representatives. So
And Paul Davis, he was there.
I did not see Paul Davis. Sorry, I missed him. So there was a large turnout. It was the turnout's growing. So with that, like when we talked about reviewing the resolution on the possibility of offering industrial revenue bonds have to go before a public hearing. Other entities have to agree to it. Industrial revenue bonds are offered to any business that offers, that creates jobs. But we had got a resolution number 2017-52, and we was going to discuss that today. David Van Perry's, I believe, our county counsel, was going to do some research on that.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioner Smith, members of this board. Again, Commissioner Smith. Volume up. We can't hear you. Can you folks hear me now?
Barely.
Yeah, I'll try to speak as loudly as I can without shouting. The commission had asked me to look at Resolution 2017-52, and I don't want to bore everybody. I'm going to read the caption for it. A resolution determining the intent of Leavenworth County to issue its industrial revenue bonds in one or more series in the approximate principal amount of $500 million to finance the costs of acquiring, constructing, and equipping multiple facilities for the benefit of Ben Swanger Advisory Services, Inc., and its successors and assigns. And this is the master resolution. The effect of this resolution was initiate the step that would be required before this county could go to additional steps to issue any industrial revenue bonds, either for the stated company or successors or assigns. No action has been taken on this since the date of that resolution. I have met with Mr. Lawfrey. We are in the process of preparing talking points for the next step, which would be to meet with this Ben Swanger agency, which it now appears is Tyson Foods, to go over the objective steps that need to be taken before a development agreement could begin to be discussed and finalized. That development agreement has certain parts to it, one of which is a cost-benefit analysis and additional analysis as this board would deem fit and necessary to proceed with this. Commissioner Smith gave a good synopsis of what really the effect of industrial revenue bonds are. They don't create a commitment upon the county, but there are necessary statutory steps that would need to be taken by this board. As we stand today, this resolution was adopted. No formative or substantive steps have been taken since that date, at least not to my knowledge, and that's where we are, Commissioner. Now that the non-disclosure agreement is no longer in effect, what I'd like to do is state this. The county was provided information regarding a potential economic development project in Leavenworth County. You had several meetings, 2 of which were in executive session due to the effect of the non-disclosure agreement and provisions that are contained in the Kansas Open Records Act. You subsequently adopted on August 28th an agreement with Atmos Energy to, if the projects were to proceed, provide natural gas to a service to a location in Tonganoxie. You also adopted a similar agreement with Suburban Water. I have an executed copy back from Atmos Energy. I don't have one back from Suburban Water yet. The following Thursday, you adopted Resolution 2017-52. That is the preliminary step in the series of steps that is needed for the county to issue industrial revenue bonds for this project. That's where we stand today. Again, no development agreement has been formulated. We're in the very infancy of this. I'm going to also say to you, Commissioners, the question was asked, what steps have been taken with respect to any planning and zoning issues? Number one, I'm not aware of any application that has been filed before your Planning Commission for any local change in zoning or special use permit, or local powers of land use control contained in the Kansas legislature with respect to agricultural uses. And that's where we stand. This project, as I said, it is really in its infancy. I haven't seen a final plan yet. I don't think anybody has. So that's where we are, Commissioners.
And I think that's what people's concerns are, that it was announced that it's going to start breaking ground in 90 days and building this facility, and nobody's been to planning and zoning yet to have any zoning changes.
Mr. Chairman, members of this commission, I think it's incumbent that if, transparency in government is important. I think this board has acted to be transparent. I think this project is moving very quickly apace, or has been moving very quickly apace. I think it's unfortunate that due to the non-disclosure agreement and other matters, this project couldn't have been handled differently, but this is where we are. Again, no planning or zoning application or change in zoning application has been received. If it stays within your local powers, that would require public hearing before your Planning Commission with final action before this board. But again, I think there are a lot of unknowns out there, some of which are certainly need to be looked into. There are also a lot of unknowns out there that I think we need to wait and see what happens, although I understand the concerns of the property owners down there, either for or against this project. So that's where we are. I would like to state this board has made it clear to me that all actions taken with respect to this project hereforth would be done in open session, and the public would be informed in advance. And Commissioner Smith, I think your agenda did that, and that we're going to try to see where we are, where to go.
How do you force someone to come to zoning and apply for rezoning?
If I were to undertake a use in Leavenworth County, the unincorporated areas of Leavenworth County, that was not allowed by your planning and zoning regulations, the county would be in position to take injunctive relief to stop me. They could seek an injunctive relief or financial penalties. Those penalties are limited to $250 per day, maybe $500.
Okay.
Commissioner Smith, the real action would be to take injunctive relief.
Okay. Commissioner Graber, you got any thoughts on that?
Well, I do. My thought is that we should take this. My thought is that we should take this resolution 2017-52, revoke it, start all over again, look at each section of it, and adopt it if we're going to section by section.
Well, it needs to go to the zoning department before we adopt it.
Yes.
Like I said, it was announced they were going to start building in 90 days, and they have not been to zoning for rezoning. So,
Well, I move that we revoke this resolution.
I'll second that. Voting?
Yes.
Has there been a second?
I second it.
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Yes.
Now, with that being done, possibly they will apply for rezoning now. So, yes, sir, Mr. Barry.
I have a question about this. I'm kind of confused as what Mr. Harris said. If they are going through the process, Tyson being they, if Tyson goes and applies to build on this ground through the state, he calls it agriculture. We understand it's agriculture and industrial because it does concern livestock as far as a chicken's concerned. But we think of it as being an industrial project, not an agriculture project. Is there a loophole that they're going to be able to get through at the state level to go ahead and build on that ground as an agricultural issue.
I can't answer that.
I'm not aware that any such step has been taken.
Not at this point.
Not at this point.
But after today, they might.
I think it's important to point out that while we have voted to revoke this, no doubt there will be efforts made to look at each section of it in the future. Am I right, David?
That's my understanding of your motion, Commissioner.
Well, and that would have been looked at the public hearings on that, on the industrial
Exactly.
bond. That's where we're at, but until zoning is reapplied or applied for to change the zoning, there's nothing going forward right now. Yes?
I just have a question.
Name and address?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name's Standridge. I'm at 157 Delaware in Edwardsville. I'm actually from Leavenworth County, but I've attended all of these meetings since the announcement came out. And last week there was a gentleman here from Wards who was an attorney, and he made a suggestion that some of those statements that were made at, I think it was on the 28th, could expose the county, and Tyson could take some of the stuff you guys voted for as a contract. Is what you guys just voted out part of that? Does that stop that? They can't come back and
That is
say,
correct.
This is a contract now, correct?
I believe that is correct.
And
That's
Mr.
my,
Perry was supposed to do some research for us and have the answer today.
Well, to my knowledge, Leavenworth County has no contract with Binswanger other than this resolution, which has been rescinded, nor do we have any independent contract with Tyson Food Industries. I would state, again, this process is now, if it was in its infancy, it's gestation, and there are a lot of what-ifs, and I think we could cloud the picture, but I would state this: the board is going to endeavor to do everything in open, transparent fashion. With respect to Tyson having any claim against the county, I'm not aware of any. Again, we don't have a contract with Tyson. We do have agreements, tentative agreements with two utility providers, but at this stage in time, it's rather undetermined.
and just want to make it clear now, this company could now apply for rezoning. I mean, any of us could buy a piece of property, any of us could come in here and ask for rezoning, but I don't know if any of us could announce that we're going to do something in 90 days and not go through zoning without probably getting a letter from zoning. So, yes, sir, Mr. Suford.
My name is Willie Suford again. I have a booth at still 172 91 182nd Street. After talking to planning and zoning, it's my understanding is that if Tyson doesn't make an application by Friday, that no approval by the planning and zoning can come about before the December meeting.
That is correct. There is deadlines for filing, yes.
They got October, it's got to be brought up to them. Then they've got to notify the adjoining landowners, and it will be December before it can come up for approval. So your 90 days is starting to get pretty well shot right there.
That's my point.
If they don't make that application by Friday.
Behind Mr. Sowers there. Sorry, Kirk.
Okay, Wally Rockoff, I live on Mooring Road in southern Leavenworth County. My question is, was there any contact between Binswanger or Tyson and anybody involved with the county commission regarding this decision to revoke the resolution? And if you could address that, and then I guess before this meeting.
I have had none.
I have had none.
So two of the three have not had none, but how about you,
I have.
Mr. Collins? You're the one that went to Tyson,
I did.
and they put the puppy show on for you because they cleaned their act up. And then let's drop in on some place where they don't clean it up and see what happens. You're the only one up there that's sitting there really pushing this. And I don't understand it. If you look around this whole room, out there, everybody is against it, but you just want to sit there and say, nay. So you're not really for us, are you?
I didn't say that.
Mr. Holland was going to give us a report on that trip, and I haven't got it. He
That's
hasn't
what I'm
given it.
saying is I've been in construction for 40 years. I have known how the little puppy shows run. When my boss says, we got a puppy show coming, let's clean up the act. That's what Tyson has done. They made a puppy show, they clean the plant up, and then they bring these guys in. Drop in on some place like Iowa, Des Moines, Knoll, all of them. Not just say, well, let's just go ahead and drop it. We'll clean this place up, and then we'll bring all you guys in and say, see what a great job this is. It's not great. I worked on Tyson's house down in Arkansas. It was a joke. And it's money, that's all it is big money. And they're trying to run it right up our Watusi, and Mr. Holland thinks it's a great idea, but he's the only one on it, commissioner, and I thank you two for voting for it, and him, nay, because he went to the puppy show.
Well, I was wanting to hear Mr. Holland's report. I do want to hear his report.
And I'm sure that he will give us a report.
Right.
What I'm saying though is they gave a nice presentation of something that's been cleaned up probably 2 weeks earlier so they could see it all.
If Pressure wants to go in somewhere, they don't give no notice, they go.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your comment. Mr. Sowers, I believe you were next.
Chairman,
Yes.
I'm going to not make myself very popular. Commissioner Holland and I don't always agree, but he is representing the people of Leavenworth County. You might not agree with him, and I might not agree with him, but I don't think we should prejudge his action as being evil or bad. He is trying to represent his people. I know Bob well enough to say that.
But it's not in his backyard either.
Well, I understand, and believe me, I do. And me stepping out and saying what I just said, I'm trying to say all three commissioners have a duty to the people of Leavenworth County, and I believe that he is honestly trying to do that duty, even though you might not agree with him.
Well, even though my wife has lung cancer, stage 4 lung cancer, and I live 2 miles south, she can't even go outside because of the clean air, because I've been there. He don't care, because it's not his wife that's dealing with this. It's me, so she won't be able to go outside if they put this plan in. The kids won't be able to go outside. I've raised 4.
And Commissioner Holland might well have a different opinion in 30 days. I don't know, but I think I know Bob Holland. He is an honest Christian gentleman.
I'm an honest Christian man too, but don't blow smoke.
Yes, sir.
Well, and then this is where we get to the zoning stage. I mean, it will affect Commissioner Holland's district with the barns because of the 50-mile radius. It'll affect the whole county. Because of the radius of where the growers could be, this will affect the whole county. It will affect your district, Commissioner.
I know.
And I think a lot of people have a lot of concerns over the barns, the growers, about the environmental impact on that. Mr. Sowers, I'll let...
If I'm out of line in saying that, I apologize, but...
Thank you.
No, you're not out of line. It's the truth. But anyway, Mr. Sowers, sorry to
Thank you, Mr.
interrupt
Chairman, Commission. My name's Kirk Sowers, manager of Tailgate Ranch. We own and operate the property surrounding the proposed Tyson project on 3 sides. I've been given the authority to represent the owners in this discussion today, but would advise the Commission that the law firm of Lewis and Rice are the legal representation. We have a representative here today for Tailgate Ranch Company concerning these matters, and nobody else. Concerning resolution, I'm just going to go past that, and I appreciate you fellows voting to rescind that. But while I have your attention, I'd like to make a brief statement. For decades now, the Tailgate Ranch has been the apple of the eyes of Leavenworth County developers. The 2,000-acre contiguous property is a gem with future possibilities like no other piece of ground in the county. This property boasts easy access by the new I-70 interchange from both sides of the interstate and nearly 3 miles of road frontage to County Road 1, with access to 5 underdeveloped county roads through and around the property. Paul McKee has successfully built a thriving cattle ranch and at the same time made improvements on it that lend to that potential. The McKee family are realists and know that the value of that property to the future of the economic development of Leavenworth County. With that said, I want the commission members and the development community in this county to know that the McKees are currently considering all future options, which are many at this time. One of those options includes a conservation easement. They have been in contact with one of the leading conservation easement programs in the state. As you may know, a conservation easement can't prevent any future development on a property which is enrolled in that program indefinitely. With that understanding, it may behoove this commission to reconsider pursuit of the Tyson project. I will spell it out for you. If the Tyson project is established and the family elects to exercise the option of enrolling the 2,000-acre block ranch into a conservation easement program, all the hopeful aspirations and decades of planning for this property by the county could vanish with the stroke of a pen. I would encourage you and thank you for rescinding the bond issue. And secondly, I would recommend that you consult among yourselves and consider giving Mr. Tyson a call and telling him that the chickenization of northeast Kansas will not be tolerated. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Sowers, before you leave, Thursday's agenda, we have a request for qualifications for firms that are going to do, we want to do a land use study on County Road 1. Now, I mean, that should have been done as whenever the interchange was put in, the land use study should have been done, and it should be laid out instead of extending these moratoriums every year.
Absolutely.
But
that was another comment that I decided to withhold was you got your cart before the horse. That study should have been done 10 years ago.
Yeah, it got kicked down the road, and since I've been here, I've been wanting a land use study, and it's been on Mr. Loffery's radar, and we're going to get that. We're going to get there, and I'm sure there'll be meetings held on that, and there will be public input on that. Of course, especially from the landowners. Yes, sir.
How about up and down County Road 25 also?
What's that?
How about up and down County Road 25 also?
Land use study?
That's 2 miles east of County Road 1.
I don't know how far the study will go. We're early on this. We don't know how big an area that the County Road 1 corridor will take in. But right now it'll be on County Road 1 for sure. Yes.
Jennifer Eddings, again, 1182 Raintree Park. I respectfully request that you consider the ramifications of issuing such a large tax abatement for such a long period of time, and consider the history that Tyson has of going into these small communities and opening a plant, taking advantage of the tax abatements and the revenue bonds that are issued that are paid for by us and you, and then 10 years later they decide to close up shop and go somewhere else when their abatement expires, and therefore they don't have to pay any taxes, and they've already made a mess of the town, they've run off all the good people, real estate is plummeted in value. I respectfully request that you consider those items in your consideration, and I also want to thank you for your vote to rescind this. I really can't tell you how much I appreciate that a lot.
All them items you list would all be public hearings would be held on all that when that time came.
Thank you very much.
So, all right, we can take a few more. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, and thank you for your time. I'm Sharon Wickie Garner. My husband of 55 years, Bill Garner, and I live at 15772 214th Street. We're lifelong residents of Tonganoxie and its community. We're located exactly 1/2 mile east of this proposed site. Tailgate Ranch, Kirk Sowers, and the association with them have been our awesome neighbors for many, many years. It should not surprise anyone that we adamantly oppose this plant. I will not review the enormous numbers presented before me because we've all heard and read them. Our farm is a 6th-generation farm, deeded in 1886. Our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren have experienced the fresh air, great water, green countryside, solitude, and freedom our farm provides. These children have been, are, or will be educated in Tonganoxie schools, including our awesome Genesis Christian School. How the schools will handle the influx of students, many needing special services, bulging classrooms, transportation challenges of which I'm aware because I'm a bus driver, and language barriers I cannot imagine. The massive figures indicating the many dangerous factors of Tyson chicken farms coming to Tonganoxie do not lie. Dangerous traffic, impact on roads, streets, and highways, acrid air pollution, health dangers, safety concerns, law enforcement issues, enormous demands on local housing, scrapped property values, higher taxes. This will all kill our economy, not build it up. The water, yes, our water, and our neighbors who have wells. What about the aquifer? Our wonderful water system will be ruined by the rancid and stinking runoff. Our families will suffer illnesses and diseases. We raise Black Angus cattle, as many other people do. We're not big producers by any means, but our livestock will be in danger. Our creeks and rivers will be ruined forever. Our lifestyle and the lifestyles of everyone, along with their livelihoods, in this community and communities around us, will be damaged beyond repair. Chicken houses, light pollution, no peace, ever, with the nasty, stinking semis continuously on the road. All of this desecrates our beautiful countryside and communities. The enormous pleasure we derive from watching the country scenery of green grass, cattle in pastures, ponds, and lakes from our front porches will be a thing of the past because we won't be able to breathe or see through the stinking fog. The only winners here will be Tyson as they laugh at us when they pull up stakes to leave their mess after 10 years and no tax payments. And they will. It'll never be right again. Obviously, no forethought or consideration was given to how our families in the entire area will suffer. Thank you to all the folks who are making their mission to kick Tyson to the curb and stop the ruination of our families, our farms, and our communities. These people have devoted many hours and lost much sleep. The community, these hardworking folks, all of us, have shown enormous control and common sense. It's obvious that working together proves there is strength in numbers. We've seen this repeatedly in signs, meetings, emails, and correspondence. We're proud of our community and each other. We deserve better from the people deciding this situation, the people we elected and trusted to use our tax money wisely. We, as those you represent, deserve respect from you that you expect from us. We appreciate all of the efforts you're making to help us out. Money talks, so we have to yell loud enough to be heard over all the behind the door, under the table treatment we've seen so far. We will beat Tyson's corporate greed and nasty money, and we could certainly use your help to save the community we all love. Tongi strong. Thank you.
We'll take one more and we'll take a recess because, I mean, we've done all we can do today, guys, on this project. But, I mean, we have been listening and we do want to hear from everybody, but this is probably not, you know, it's not an agenda item, but we do want to hear from you.
Kent Porter. 19801 Tonganoxie Road, Tonganoxie. Gentlemen, we're not here this morning to argue with you. All these tax-paying citizens are here to support you. We want to support you just like you've been elected to support us. You have been the victims of a massive, carefully choreographed, carefully controlled campaign by Tyson. Everything you have seen, everything you've heard, everything you've been promised has been carefully controlled and choreographed. You've been seduced by one of the best in the business, Guardia Bannister. Mr. Bannister came to Tyson Foods from Alara Industries in California. Alara Industries is owned by Royal Dutch Shell and ExxonMobil, the second biggest polluter of our environment behind Tyson Foods. I think you see the pattern here. Based on wrong information, misinformation, withheld information, you made a wrong decision. There's no shame in that. We can't blame you for that. Now you have the opportunity to stand up and simply say, we had the wrong information. We made a wrong decision. And in the interest of the citizens that we represent, we're going to change that decision. Thank you.
Well, as soon as they apply for rezoning, there's no decision right now. So anyway, I'd like to take a 5-minute recess. Allow everybody, if they need to leave, to get back to their jobs or anything. And we'll have a reconvene here 5 till 10. That we work.
Is this all that we're going to talk about Tyson?
Yes. Yes. Like I said, I don't want to take any more of your time. I know you guys got stuff to do, and
Thank you
I know.
for your time, and thank you for considering not accepting the zoning request.
Is Commissioner Holland going to report on this trip? Because I wouldn't listen.
He said he would, but I don't know if he's got it prepared. He said he took a lot of notes, and I don't want to speak for Mr. Holland, but I'm sure at some point he will report on that. But
Yes, I didn't hear the question.
oh, she wanted to know when you was going to report on your findings on your fact-finding trip.
I guess I will report when it's on. I'll report on it when it's an agenda item.
He'll put it on the agenda. No, it'll be on the agenda that comes out.
How long is that there?
I thought it was said it was gonna be Monday.
Yeah.
That's what was told Thursday.
And by the way, I did see on the news that said the 3-board Leavenworth County Commission was going to vote on the zoning on this on Thursday. That's not true. It hasn't been to zoning. So
They gotta have it, they have to apply for it before the 22nd of September to make it to the October
right,
meeting, right?
that's correct. So, anyways, all right, one more, and we got to recess
I
here.
just have a quick request. My name's Christy Cruz, 21777 Cantrell Road, Linwood, Kansas. Anytime you have Tyson on the agenda, can you consider moving venue? The rotunda is full of people that want to hear what's going on in here.
Mm-hmm.
And our community is very concerned with this issue, and we're not going to go away.
Okay.
So if you would consider a different venue that would hold more people, it would be good.
A park would be nice, that's why you're up on Friday.
Yeah, it's probably more productive indoors though with the sound system and that. And we are getting into the fall, so I don't know whether we got anything that would hold this. Maybe the community center? Community center?
IMAC's empty, isn't it?
What's that?
The IMAC gym?
Yeah, but I don't know who owns that.
Well, Capital Schools own it.
Okay, I thought they were getting rid of that. Well, any other big thing is going to be when the zoning comes up, so we'll have time to figure out where we can hold a large crowd. All right? All right, let's do a 5-minute recess.
Just the
I know what you're talking about, but I didn't know that we got that.
Why not?
Downstairs. Right, stop downstairs. Stop downstairs. This, I'll be honest, this is taking long.
Well, and I talked to him.
Well, you know,
I can.
learning.
David Freese with the Kansas City Star. How are you?
I just want to tell you,
Explain what the motion does to me.
You just revoked the earlier resolution. If you want more explanation, I talked to Diane Harris.
Thank you, sir. Dan, please come here. And that's
Don't leave.
I'll have questions, I guess, probably after whatever we have. But anyway, I have questions now, but I'll
Yes, sir.
you say what you're saying about it. These signatures. I'm trying to figure out who. Yeah, well, let's move it. Well, it's pretty good. Well, I know there are people I know who are trying to work next to it.
Well, and I think
like that.
so we're getting ready to remodel that. The old end, getting ready to remodel that. That's what I got. Contract. We need to put cameras. And we need to have something. And then people will be more apt to do the right thing.
And I don't know.
I have one forever. You drop that sucker.
They're doing a good offer.
I get it. 25%.
I know, but it's I'm able to tell you, this is
For like years, there was like, guys, I was on the Navy,
I said, I'm gonna go buy some trailer. I love it, but I'm on there for a product because my clothes.
What's that? Northeast Kansas for sale.
She goes,
Official. Northeast Kansas.
notified you? I said, yeah. Kind of like when you're getting a text from somebody. You know, I get it. If somebody sells.
Johnson County, the old King.
Oh, yeah.
Johnson County Arts and Heritage Center. That is a nice facility. Now, we got to host it next year. That is really like,
Right.
I mean, but it was blocked for the song. But they were good.
As I tell people, you have something, you don't want your place. I said, do not show it. I said, take a picture of it, put it on Facebook. I get somebody with all good money. It is.
I think our last anything longer than 5 minutes, so I'll go ahead and ask you the question I have now. What we see the reason for making the motion to rescind the resolution? It's my understanding that resolution is non-binding.
I just think it's a better idea to take each part of it, look at it individually, and move slowly.
Well, I'm not repeating it right now. It was just that my understanding is non-binding, so it doesn't really matter whether you approve it or don't approve it, so it's kind of like.
Janet, I was going to have her comment.
Okay. Are you about ready to start?
Yeah, as soon as Commissioner Holland gets back. Or do you have some questions?
Well, no, I was just going to say, since I'm waiting, you're getting ready to start.
Yes. Yeah, no. Thank you, though. Thanks for coming over.
After I left.
We're going to call the meeting back to order. Commissioner Graber would like to read a statement.
Thank you, Chairman. There comes a time in everyone's life when we must realize that we just can't do the things we've always been able to do. That time has come for me. As many of you know, over the last 6-month period, I have been in the hospital twice for heart-related problems, including an angioplasty. Last Thursday, after our commission meeting, I was put in the hospital again and was there through late Friday. My heart condition certainly has not improved, and to kind of cap everything off, it appears my lymphoma that has been dormant for over 2 years has apparently returned. I intend to schedule as quickly as possible treatments for the lymphoma and continue my cardiac treatment. I do not like quitting, but my doctor has strongly told me that I must get away from all stress and burden on my heart. Therefore, I will be resigning as a member of the Leavenworth County Commission at noon on Thursday, September 28, 2017. This should provide ample time for the Central Committee to select someone to fill this seat as quickly as possible. I truly regret having to do this, but I think I owe this to myself, my wife, and my extended family. Many of you are not aware I have been in public service for over 37 years. My first experience was 6 years on the Leavenworth City Commission, 2 of which I acted as mayor. In 1984, I ran for the Kansas House of Representatives and won. In the House, I served as chairman of the Banking Committee, the Insurance Committee, and later as chairman of the Federal and State Affairs Committee. I was also elected by my fellow Republican House members as chairman of the House Republican Caucus 3 times. In 1996, I announced I would not be running again and intended to come home. Shortly thereafter, Governor Graves called and asked if I would be his legislative liaison to the Senate. I accepted that post and served close to 2 years. When the position of state treasurer came vacant, I applied and the governor selected me, and I served as state treasurer for 1 year. After the governor was sworn in for his second term, he asked me to go back on his staff, and I agreed. 2 days later, he asked me to become secretary of the Department of Health and Environment. Being Secretary of Health and Environment, I learned a lot about water, streams, lagoons, chemical spills, and pig farms. I held that challenging job for 4 years, and I learned a lot. I came home to Leavenworth fully anticipating a relaxed life, but friends urged me to run for the Leavenworth County Commission. I'm now in my 13th year, and it has been a challenging time, and I've enjoyed it. This last year has been the most challenging of all. I appreciate the support I have received from the people of Leavenworth County, and I truly regret having to take this action. But I feel it is in the best interest of the county and certainly my own health. Thank you.
Didn't see that coming, but I would feel sorry for who's gonna have to fill them shoes, Commissioner. That's a pretty impressive resume, and I totally understand you have given your life to public service, and it's time you enjoy this. Man,
Well, it's...
I don't know what to say. And I'm honored I got to serve with someone, with a statesman like Clyde Graber, even if it was just for a few short months. And the health thing does concern me, Commissioner. I feel bad.
It concerns me too.
I hope all these people who show up to our meetings will pray for Commissioner Graber and his health. Commissioner, it's been an honor to serve with you, and I just... I feel horrible about this, Commissioner.
Well, it's just my...
But
if I could do something else about it, I would.
I mean, I hope all these people here today will pray for you and everything. And like I said, I feel sorry for whoever's got to fill your shoes. But I appreciate you staying to the end of the month, and I hope you don't mind if we ask you questions once you leave, and you guide and give us advice. But Sorry, I wasn't prepared for this today, folks, so.
Thank you.
We have anything else on the agenda? Then I'd take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, voting.
Aye.
Aye.